All right, so continuing chapter two, um, there have been recent updates in the Real Estate Licensing Act. We went over a bunch of them. Now, let's see, what do I got highlighted here? Let's see, real estate salespeople and broker salespeople. Yes, you could form a LLC now and get paid in the name of an LLC. Sometimes we get people that ask these questions. Uh, you know, uh, I don't know why, but if that's something you'd want to do, get paid as an LLC and by your broker. Yes, you can form an LLC and do this. However, that LLC entity would need to be licensed with the Real Estate Commission as well, and you'd need to pay for a license for yourself as well as that LLC to renew both the licenses all the time now. So, how much does that cost? I'm not sure how much they're charging for that. Let's just assume it's the lowest amount, which would be the same cost as your license. So it'd be then doubling it to $200 every year or every 2 years you need to renew your license. Anyway, um, so that's something that they put into effect now. I don't know if it's actually active right now that you could do it this way. Did they put that system in place yet where the LLC can be licensed? I know they signed this into law, but is it implemented yet? I don't know. All right. See down here, the New Jersey Real Estate Commission shall create a registration process for a limited liability company and other entity to receive commission or other valuable consideration. So I don't know if they've done that yet. So even though the law was changed that would allow somebody to get paid as an LLC for whatever reason you'd want to do that, you can't do that until the Real Estate Commission creates the process. I wouldn't hold my breath that they've done it yet. I mean, look at the other law that we went over, that they changed the law in 2021 and for giving out free items contingent upon you doing business with the public doing business with you. They changed the law that allows that, but you can't do that until the Real Estate Commission put a process in place for how that would be done, and they still haven't done that. And it's 2025. So, yeah, don't hold your breath on this one being done quite yet. All right. Can you use a lottery contest game of chance to sell real estate in New Jersey? Uh, the Gaming Commission may have an issue with that. We're one of the highest regulated states, right? So the nanny state, the Gaming Commission may have a problem with that. So no, you cannot. Okay. So if offering anything for free, it must be genuinely free with no strings attached, not contingent on doing business with that broker, which would be you. However, new laws allow offering free items with strings attached, but only after the Real Estate Commission creates rules dictating how to do so, like I was saying just a moment ago. And that's right here, 451517G. That's what they've changed here. Using a plan, scheme, method for sale, promotion of real estate, which involves a lottery, contest, game, or prize or drawing if the offering of a parcel or lot or parcels for advertising purposes. If a broker participates in a promotion or offering of a free discounted item or other service or products which confers upon it a value of greater than $1,000, the broker shall provide written disclosure of the benefit to the recipient, and any information concerning the promotion or benefits may be required by the commission. A broker shall disclose in writing any compensation received for such promotion or offer in the form, whatever that's required under the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. Except notwithstanding the provision in the Federal Act, written disclosures shall be provided no later than when the promotion is offered or extended to the consumer. Yeah, so we're still waiting either way on the Real Estate Commission to put in some kind of registration process for that. If you're offering anything for free for the public, especially if it's over $1,000, needs to be you have to have some kind of public offering statement, and it needs to be registered with the REC. So let's see, what do I got here that I got the asterisks next to? The commission regulations supplementing the LAD, That's the New Jersey law against discrimination, specifies that no licensee may in any way advertise or express a discriminatory limitation or preference. Um, any advertisements that mention a specific commission rate or amount must also state that in New Jersey, all commissions are negotiable. I believe we went over that once before. Just here is where we would highlight it on page 22. And the purpose of that is to show you're not engaging in an illegal act called price fixing, which is made illegal according to the Sherman Antitrust Act. Right? What's price fixing again?
When they collude on agree on a certain price and make it less competitive.
It's when, yeah, but it's when you're doing that with the competition. You're colluding with the competition, agents from other brokerage firms. Within your own firm, you're allowed to. Hell, you could have role playing and training on how you're going to do it. But with agents from different brokerage firms, you cannot. That would be illegal price fixing when you conspire with them, the competition, to try to set that standard for that pricing. Correct. All right. So, and once again, here's that slide again that explains all of that for that price fixing. Okay, so here's just a bunch of signs. You guys ever see these placards, these signs like this on a building? Sometimes they could even just be made with spray paint. I know in recent years in social media, where everything today is racist, you get these people who are hyper sensitive, got nothing better to do but claim everything in the world is racist. So in neighborhoods where you may see houses like this that have a box drawn on it with a line through it or an X, or it's either a sign or spray painted on the side of the building. Um, People are like, oh, that's a racist thing. It's to point something. I don't even know what the argument of it is. I think it's kind of dumb. It has nothing to do with race. These placards have to deal with vacant buildings, vacant and abandoned buildings. They need to be inspected by the fire marshal and then notice put on them if there's any dangers or hazards. Because if they ever catch on fire, because you got vagrants in there or whatever, and they catch on fire, you need to warn the safety personnel that don't go inside. There's dangerous conditions. To only go in to protect life. If you're aware someone's inside, because on December 3rd, 1999, six firefighters died fighting a fire inside an abandoned six-story warehouse. The firefighters entered the structure, became disoriented and unable to escape their maze-like interior of that building before multiple collapses occurred. So following this, OSHA said that they made a recommendation that fire departments should identify dangerous vacant buildings by fixing warning placards at entryways and doorways or other openings where the firefighters may enter. Okay, so just a box with no lines through it means there's normal conditions, there's no apparent dangers inside the building. With one line, it is use caution. And with an X through it, it's only fight the fire from the exterior purpose only, except you could go in at your own risk, only to protect life if you're aware that somebody's in there and in danger. All right, so they could also look like this with some writing on them too. Here's some examples where you could see how they're used, you know. Here's another example. They could also look like this, these OSHA placards, not necessarily a box with an X through it, but they could look like this. Here's a situation. I got this one from this picture from Linden, the town I live in, when somebody actually died in the building. You had a furnace that was being serviced. The exhaust got dislodged somehow, and it was spewing in carbon monoxide gas inside the house. The underneath the kid's bedroom, and the mother tried to wake the kids up in the morning for school, and neither one of them were responsive. The one child was pronounced dead before they got to the hospital, and the other one was in a coma. So they put this placard on there that nobody's to enter this building until the thing gets repaired. Um, we'll go over a video for that uh, in a later chapter. So we already went over this one. That's safe, no hazardous conditions there in that building with that. Just a box. Anybody ever see these? You usually see these on like school buildings and maybe City Hall or something like that, the older buildings. This was something from the 60s when we were talking about having nuclear fallout shelters when there was danger of nuclear war. What's it, back in 1961, they established fallout shelters throughout the community. And if you see a building like this, that means it has a nuclear fallout shelter in it or a place where you could try to take cover. These types of signs, you probably see them on tractor trailers, on tanker trucks, and all kinds of tractor trailers, but you can see them on fences and buildings as well. But what do they mean? What does this mean? What does this placard mean? Well, let's go over it. There's 4 squares within this square here. So there's 4 sections there, color coded. Red means flammability, blue means a health hazard, yellow means it's something that's reactive or unstable, and white is a special hazard like oxidizers or water reactive or asphyxiating gases. Um, and the white one is a special hazard that's usually letters that are put in here like OX, SA, or W. Um, all right. Commission rebates. Can we offer rebates to the public? Buyer rebates? Yeah, sure. Who can we offer a buyer rebate to? Don't just say buyers. Kind of buyer. Anybody remember? I think I did bring it up before. It's a buyer of a primary residence. It's the main house you live in, not a second home or vacation home or property, investment property, commercial building, or anything like that. So only the buyer of a primary residence can receive a rebate, not sellers. Sellers can't get rebates. Buyers can. Rebates must be a direct reduction of the commission due to the agency. Rebates can only be offered in the form of a credit or check at closing. It must be in it must be in writing from the start of the business relationship that a rebate is being offered and how much that rebate's going to be. Can you offer rebates? Well, once again, only if your broker allows it. All parties must be aware that a rebate is being offered, and the lenders can forbid that rebate. That's why we got to make sure that all parties are aware that a rebate's being offered, because it may not be in line with the rules of the lending program or loan type of loan that the buyer's getting. So lenders can forbid you from getting a rebate. I've had this situation before where I was offering a rebate to a buyer, and the lender said, no, you can't offer that rebate. So I had to let them down because the cowardice of that mortgage lender, they didn't want to go tell them that, hey, you can't get a rebate that your broker was offering you because whatever reason. Instead, they called me up and told me, and I was like, well, you tell them then. And then they're like, and they hung up. So I had to break the news to my client that the rebate I was going to offer them, I can't offer them because they're lender, and he was too cowardice to come and tell you himself. Anyway, here we go. Here's a tip. When do you inform all parties that you're offering a rebate? I would say wait until after the offer is accepted and you do the negotiations. And then it goes to attorney review. Then at that point, when it's an attorney review, let everybody know, hey, we're offering a rebate. This way it does not interfere with your negotiations. Because if a seller knows that a buyer is getting you're sharing their commission with your commission with the buyer, a seller may think, oh, well, then they could afford to pay a little bit more, and it could interfere with your negotiation. So I would suggest to do it at that point. Okay, rebates may not be dependent on a lottery, contest, game, or drawing. Licensees can only offer rebates if your broker allows it. And when you advertise rebates, you have to tell people that they have to consult with a tax professional about the possible consequences of receiving that rebate. Okay, everybody get the highlights on that?
What does it mean when you say primary residence?
The main house you're living in, not a
Okay,
second home or vacation property. Because some people have two homes, and if that's the case, um, which one do you live in most of the time? Which one do you have your driver's license registered at and you file your taxes from and you get all your mail to? That's your primary residence.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, this is page 22. Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So also on page 22, price fixing prohibitions, any agreement between competing offices to establish standard commission rates is forbidden, not only by the federal government, but also by the Real Estate Commission. And I just put a little cross-reference, page 55 there. That's where we went and we did all that highlighting stuff for price fixing and the Sherman Antitrust Acts, which also makes allocation of markets illegal. That's when you try to divvy up the market share, the geographic region, or by price with the competition. All right, this is not so much of an issue anymore, but it could be in the future. Who knows? In the past, it it was a big issue. You had a company that everybody hated. Um, there was a company that real estate brokerage that started working here in New Jersey, and I think they were in a couple of other states too. But they basically came from Britain. Uh, they were a mortgage company. They were writing loans, and they figure, lenders will often come to our real estate offices and suck up to all the agents. Hey, if you got anybody who needs to get qualified for a loan, and they bring you coffee and donuts every morning. uh, well, they decided that, hey, you know what? Instead of sucking up to these other brokerages all the time, why don't we just open up our own brokerages? We could attract our own buyers. We don't care much about the listing, and the commission's not about the real estate for us. It's about selling the mortgages and writing the mortgage loans. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our own brokerage. We're going to offer super low commission rates for for getting the listings, and then all the buyers will come. And any buyers that come to us, we'll pre-qualify them ourselves because we're a mortgage company. Hey, and so they would get listings when they started. They started at 1%, and then they changed. That wasn't going to last, so they raised it to 2, and that lasted for a little while, not long, and then they changed it to 3. Okay, even though the majority of their listings were at 4%, they all their advertisements they drove around with these little Mini Coopers with the flowers on us painted on the side, and inside the center of the flower, the daisy, it was a 3% was written in there. So they're charging total 3% commission to get the listings to sell people's properties, and then they would offer 1.5% of that commission, half of it, to any other agent from other agencies that brought in a buyer. Other agents hated this because it was such a low commission. You still got to split that with your broker. What are you making off of that? So other agencies started in the MLS. There's a thing where you could put down or at least you used to be able to put down how much you're splitting with the other agency. But you also had reciprocal commissions. So a lot of brokers misunderstood reciprocal commissions and how that works. So what they started doing is some agencies that are charging 6% instead of 3, like this one, They were like, you know what? We're gonna give you reciprocal commissions. And they misunderstood what that meant. And it opened up all kinds of lawsuits and such over it. And the Real Estate Commission just put out a rule to clarify what it actually means. Because a lot of these brokerages that were charging 6% commission were only offering 1.5% to this particular company because that's all that they were offering other people to who sell their listings, right? That's not reciprocal, though, in as defined by the Real Estate Commission. Uh, Brokers were like, well, you're giving a 1.5%, so we're giving 1.5% back to you. That's reciprocal, right? No, it's not. Because reciprocal means of the total commission, how much are they offering? They were offering 50% of their total commission. So when this company had an agent that was working with buyers and they came to see your listing, when you offered them only 1.5%, that's not reciprocal. Reciprocal would have been 3%, 50% of your total commission. You guys follow? The Real Estate Commission put out a rule specifically about discriminatory commission splits because the other company is not offering a high commission split. You're giving them a discriminatory split, the same amount that they're offering, but it's not really the same percentage of the total commission. So that's considered discriminatory, and that's not how you're supposed to split it. That's not reciprocal either. Okay. So here's a note to that on the Real Estate Commission's website on their main page that talks about those commission split advisory. All right. So the commission could investigate. Okay, so far, all the stuff that we were learning so far and things that are yet to be learned. What could happen to your license if you violate the Real Estate Commission's rules or the law? Well, the commission could investigate complaints when somebody files a complaint, or they could investigate on their own. Now, what could they do to your license? Well, the least severe to the most severe, they could put your license on probation, they could suspend it, or they can revoke your license altogether. In addition to that, separately or in addition, fines can be issued up to $5,000 for a first offense and up to $10,000 for subsequent violations. And if you have 3 or more violations, which you can have also in one transactions, your license will likely be revoked. Well, it really depends. They shouldn't write that likely. It depends, on what it is. And if you've done something repeatedly and you just don't care and you're doing whatever you want, it depends on your attitude. It depends on how it went down and what was done. What did you do to violate the law or the commission's rules? But 3 or more violations, they could revoke your license. Hell, they could actually revoke your license with 1 violation if it was very severe, depending on what it was. So the New Jersey Real Estate Commission reserves the right to permanently revoke a real estate license on a first offense. Oh, there you go. Next sentence, if I just read it. So it depends on what you did that they could take sanctions like that, severe sanctions against your licenses. Now, this is on the top. Let me see, top of the next page in version 18. So 22, 23. Note that a person filing charges is known as a complainant, while the person being investigated is known as the respondent. All right. So I put together one slide that has all that stuff and then some on it about if you violate the rules, what can happen to your license, what are the fines, what are the penalties, and some more additional stuff. So once again, probation is the least severe discipline. All right. It's a strong, stern warning that they're going to be looking at, they're going to be watching you. Suspension is a temporary lifting of the license in which time you cannot work. Revocation is where they take away your license. And this could be for a period of time or for life. But a lot of times when they revoke the license, if you had like a higher type license, like a broker's or broker salesperson license, when they take away your license and then they give it back, they could give it back as a salesperson instead of a broker salesperson. So instead of suspension versus revocation, they're both a taking away of your license. And this revocation, they can revoke your license temporarily, just like with suspension. But the thing is, revocation is more severe. So it could also have an impact on your license type. Okay. So fines can be imposed in addition to license sanctions, up to 5,000 for a first offense, and up to 10,000 for subsequent violations. So if they give you a story on exam that an agent did something wrong, how much can they be fined by the real estate commission on the first offense? $500, $7,000, $10,000, or $15,000. $500 would be the correct answer because it's up to 5,000. Doesn't have to be 5,000. It could be up to. So anything in that range up to $5,000 for that first offense. Okay. Now, what if they give you a question that there was 5 violations in one transaction? There was 5 violations. How much can that agent be fined? What's the maximum they could be fined?
10,000?
They had 5 violations in one transaction.
25,000.
Up to 5,000 for the first offense. The next one would be 10, 20, 30, 40, $45,000. Here, see this? 5,000 for the first offense. Second is 10,000. Remember, because it's up to 10,000 for subsequent violations. Up to 10,000 for the third. Up to 10,000 for the fourth. Up to 10,000 for the fifth. So 10, 20, 30, 40, plus the 5,000 for the initial violation. So that's 45,000. That's how they would add it up. Okay, let me go back to this slide for a sec. So we have timeshares are a little bit different. Okay, so this is just for any violation for your regular work. But if you're an agent who happens to work with timeshares, these are the partial ownerships that you share with other people on a property, usually vacation destination resort places. You own a condo with 51 other people, each own a week out of the year. These things are regulated differently, and there's different laws that apply to them because these are high pressure sales tactics that agents use on buyers of timeshares. So the fines are a little more stiffer too. The minimum fine is $250 for a violation of one of the rules pertaining to timeshares, and up to $50,000 per offense for out-of-state subdivided land and timeshare violations. So the minimum is a $250 fine with a maximum $50,000 fine. And these are the sections that pertain to timeshare rules. 4515-16.5 to 4515-16.79. So if you were to look it up in the code that's in the back of the book, you would, or on the Real Estate Commission's website, you could see all the laws pertaining to timeshares. Now, the state treasurer manages all the money in the state, so any fines, they're turned over to them. All right, so is there a process, a procedure, or do they just take actions against your license and issue fines? There's a process. They'll send the agent who is coming up on charges a 10-day engraved invitation to attend a 10-day advance notice to attend a hearing. They're in Trenton. Now, results can be appealed to the New Jersey Superior Court if you're not happy with them. And the broker, your broker, can be held can be disciplined as well if they had guilty knowledge. Oh, guilty knowledge, another term you need to know and have on your definition list. What is guilty knowledge? I'll have another slide that has a definition on it, but guilty knowledge in a nutshell is when a broker knows or should have known that one of their agents, one of their licensees or unlicensed assistants were doing something wrong, and he made no attempt to stop or prevent those activities. The broker can be held just as liable as the person who did the wrongdoing. Okay? That's guilty knowledge. Now, so can a broker just be like, oh, I didn't know? No, because it's when the broker knows or should have known. I know an instance where there was a case where the broker's agents were doing some things wrong. The real estate commission came down on the broker, and the broker was like, well, how the hell am I supposed to know? I got 200 agents licenses hanging here at my office. How am I supposed to keep tabs on all of them and know what they're doing at all the times? The real estate commission said, well, who told you to take on 200 licenses? Take on only what you could handle to manage. If you can't manage 200 people, don't take on 200 people. But we're not putting restrictions on how many people you can manage. It's up to you and how many people you can. But you are responsible for everyone you hire. You're responsible for making sure that what they do is not breaking the law. Remember, the broker needs to provide office space and guidance and direction. They need to make sure that their agents are not breaking the law. All right, so violations. Licensees must notify the real estate commission within 30 days of any conviction, indictment, or being charged with a crime. Anybody know what an indictment is? It's basically you're being formally accused of a crime. That's all it is. You ever hear that term, you could indict a ham sandwich? Yeah. People are ignorant and you could paint any kind of a story, especially when the opposition cannot respond to it. So it's really easy to get an indictment and get charges on somebody. It's another thing to actually find them guilty, of something. So repeat offenders with 3 or more violations may have their licenses revoked for life. Serious offenses may result in license being suspended until a case is resolved. Even though in the United States you're innocent until proven guilty, we've seen in recent years in some of the public spotlight some things where people are actually, looked at as if and have actions against them as if they were already convicted of something before they were ever went to court and had the chance to fight for themselves and respond to the charges against them. So in some cases like this, with your real estate license, well, they give it when the real estate commission gives you your license. They reserve the right to take it away. It's a privilege. They could take it away from you at any time. So serious offenses may result in the license being suspended until a case is resolved. Some examples of this would be rape, murder, robbery, kidnapping, criminal conspiracy, and so on. So in these instances, the real estate commission would suspend your license until there's an outcome for the case, even though you're innocent until proven guilty. Because if you did do one of these crimes and then it turns out that the real estate commission didn't take an action against you to temporarily suspend your license so that you still then had access to lock boxes to get to the keys to enter people's houses, and then you did something again, the real estate commission would be found complicit in allowing you to continue these activities that were doing bad stuff. So they want to just avoid that altogether, and they will suspend your license until there's an outcome to the case. Okay. Now, when I say lock boxes, I got an example of a lockbox right here. Here's a key lockbox. This is what we call a Supra. See the Supra on there. So it's a Supra lockbox by GE Security. It's Bluetooth. And you got this little reader over here, or it's actually a light. So when you connect to these things, you have software that can manage these things remotely. And they've got codes in them so that you could release the shackle up top, or drop the bottom of the box out through the bottom, which then the keys go into. Now, it's got a lifetime battery, and it's made of steel, and it's coated by this bluish rubber finish. See, that's steel. That's hard. I hurt my knuckles. But it's got this rubber thing on here, the coating, so it doesn't mar the doors up too bad. So how do you activate it? Well, first you got the software, open up the software on your cell phone, and then you press up from the bottom, and you see that light starting to flicker now? That'll go off for maybe 30 seconds while you get a chance to fumble through your phone, get your key code in there so that you can then drop out the key box from the bottom. Okay. Or take off the shackle and then put this on the around the door, or the door handle, or a metal railing. Don't attach it to a tree or a bush. All right. Anybody need to snap a picture, get a screenshot of this while I get my mouse out of the way here? Everybody good?
Good.
But nothing highlighting in there, so it's not going to be on the test.
No, there's well there are things like this. Some of this stuff you did highlight on page 22. That's some of the things that are right here, the suspension, revocation, and the fines. I just wrote it a little clearer. I gave a little bit of a clearer explanation on them here. Okay. And the timeshare thing that wasn't mentioned right here. It's not mentioned till later on in the book. You don't need to study the timeshare fines, though. You need to know this one. Up to 5,000 for a first offense, up to 10,000 for subsequent violations. You need to know what the least severe to the most severe is, and that they give you a 10-day advance notice to attend a hearing. You need to know what guilty knowledge is. So there's a couple questions that could come out of this. As well as this one, the 30 days you need to notify the real estate commission, and that they could revoke your license for life with 3 or more violations. All right, so this basically says the same thing. This just spells out the example of how much fines you'd have in the example if you were found guilty of 5 or more violations in one single investigation. Here's the part to highlight about the procedure of what we just saw on the previous slide. The commission must provide the licensee 10 days advance notice. And here's the book's definition of guilty knowledge. But then this also goes into a second sentence, which talks about what happens to your license if your broker's license is suspended or revoked. Well, can you work under a broker who doesn't have an active license? No. So your license will be suspended, not because you did something wrong, but because your broker doesn't have an active license, and you can't work unsupervised, right? You can't even get your license without first affiliating with a actively licensed broker, right? So what happens to your license? Well, your license becomes suspended until that broker's license gets reactivated, or they replace that broker, or you can transfer your license to another brokerage and then get that your license reissued under the name of the new brokerage firm at no charge, because they're not going to penalize you because you didn't do anything wrong. Okay, that's basically what that says.
So in this definition, it says guilty knowledge is when someone knew what was going on and didn't attempt to stop it, but you said it's no and should have known, right?
Yeah, it's when you knew or should have known. This is the book manufacturer. Whoever whoever the person was that writes these or tweaks these things, these definitions change from time to time. That was their opinion, how they wrote it. There was a better way that it could have been written, because I'm telling you right now, the Real Estate Commission, I gave you guys an example of a case where a broker was like, well, I didn't know. They're trying to use that as the excuse, and the commission was like, well, yeah, you should have. Should you have known? That was one of your jobs. You got one job and you didn't do it. So let's see. The commission can promptly revoke the licenses of certain crimes. And here's the other one with that kidnapping, murder, rape, and all that. Okay. So all those things that were on that one slide that I put, you could see they're spread out all over the place. I got paragraph here, a line here, a line there. And I clarified the definitions, and I gave a little bit clearer definitions on mine too. Even though I didn't give you yet the slide with my definition of guilty knowledge yet, like you caught, but I just told it to you. It wasn't written on that slide. Just the word guilty knowledge was. I'm going to have guilty knowledge on another slide, I believe right after this one. Everybody got the highlights? We good?
Yes.
Okie doke.
Yep.
There you go. Guilty knowledge is when the broker is aware or should have been aware that one of their licensed or unlicensed assistants was doing something wrong and makes no attempt to stop or prevent those activities. The broker can be held just as liable as the agent who did whatever was wrong. All right, so what happens to your license if your broker loses theirs was the question I posed to you before, and I have it written here on this slide as well. Well, all the agents under that broker will have their licenses suspended because they cannot work unsupervised. The licensees can wait until the broker either gets their license back, the broker is replaced with one who is actively licensed, or the agent transfers their license to another company under an actively licensed broker, and then the REC will waive the fee to reissue to transfer that license elsewhere. And it does happen, because here's an example where a broker, let's see, broker failed to ensure in a timely manner to renew his own company's license. And in the meantime, his agents were still working. Your agents cannot work if you don't have an active license. So because the broker's license was not renewed on time and his agents were working, the Real Estate Commission gave him a $5,000 fine on that. All right, violations. Okay, let's go over a bunch of things that the Real Estate Commission can give you fines or sanctions on your license against if you do these violations. There's a boatload of these on page 23, and it continues on to the next page 24. So let's see, making false promises or substantial misrepresentations. Yeah, don't lie or exaggerate things that are meant to be fact. Acting for more than one party in a transaction without knowledge of all parties thereof. What do we call that? Anybody know? What do we call it when you're acting for more than one party in a transaction without the knowledge of all parties in the transaction? It's undisclosed dual agency. Remember, there's nothing wrong with dual agency, but undisclosed dual agency is not allowed. Pursuing a flagrant and continued course of misrepresentation, making false promises. Ooh. Property values are sure to go up 10% in the next year. How the hell would you know that? Do you have that crystal ball? So I would suggest not making any kinds of promises like that to people. Oh, I guarantee you I'll sell your property. How could you guarantee you're going to sell the property? Be careful about making false promises or misrepresentations like that. Failure to account for or pay over money belonging to others. Ooh, yeah, good way to lose your license. Conduct, and when the brokers give you or when your clients give you money, how soon you got to give it to your broker so they can put it into the escrow account? When your clients give you money, how soon do you give it to the broker? And then how soon does the broker have to put it in the escrow account?
we need to give that money to the broker immediately, and he have or they have 5 days to put that money in escrow account.
Correct. Correct. Very good. Okay. Conduct demonstrating unworthiness, incompetence, dishonesty, or bad faith. Wow. Imagine that. Losing your license or having actions taken against you or being fined because you're incompetent. It means you can't do your job properly. Failure to provide a client with a copy of a contract at the time of signing. What do we call that? A duplicate original.
Mhm.
Duplicate original. And failure to specify an expiration date in a listing. Oh, yeah, we don't want agents filling out listing agreements and then leaving the expiration date, how long the listing term is, blank, and then when they leave, filling it out. Okay. So make sure that's filled out, and then you give them their duplicate original right away. Using a lottery contest, game prize, or drawing to promote the sale of real estate, not allowed in New Jersey. Maybe in other states, but not New Jersey. Being convicted of a crime of which the commission does not have knowledge. Collecting a commission as a broker in a transaction while simultaneously representing either party in a different capacity. Yeah, like their attorney and their broker. Using the trade name or insignia of the real estate organization while not being a member of it. Well, yeah, another example of that would be that you may see a little bit more often, where maybe an agent is notified that they're going to win an award, like a Circle of Excellence Performance Award or something like that, but they're not allowed to advertise that until they're actually given the award. Okay. And some agents, they jump the gun. They know that they're going to be getting it in advance before the award ceremony. What they'll do is they'll start advertising that they're a Circle of Excellence Awards recipient. And they're not yet. So be careful with that. Paying any compensation or commission to an unlicensed person, except in some circumstances to a buyer, the rebate. Any other conduct constituting fraud or dishonest dealing. As a salesperson or broker, salesperson accepting any commission or valuable consideration from anyone except for their employing broker. Who can you pay? Who can you pay?
Broker.
Nobody.
Oh,
You can't pay anybody. Who can you be paid by?
the broker. Only the broker.
Only which broker?
The one that you work for.
That's it, your broker. Only your broker. And who can your broker pay?
Clients with the which we dealing with.
With the what?
The clients which we are dealing with, they can pay our broker.
No, who can our broker pay? Who can our broker pay? Our broker can pay, when it comes to clients, our broker can give a rebate to a buyer of a primary residence, but it's actually not the broker paying it directly. It's coming from the closing agent. It's deducted from our commission in the form of a credit or check at the closing table. The broker can pay any of their agents, or they could pay another broker when they pay out a referral fee, and then that broker pays their agent. Okay. So you see the couple scenarios I gave there. Who can you pay? Nobody. Who can your broker pay? Any of their agents, another broker, or a buyer with a rebate. And who can you be paid by? Only your broker. Okay. Let's see. Any other conduct constituting fraud, dishonest dealing, salesperson, broker, salesperson. Okay, we read that. Or procuring a real estate license through fraud or deceit. Ooh, we've seen a couple examples of that. I show you that disciplinary actions page on the Real Estate Commission's website, and you can see those several people got it through fraud or deceit. They didn't say that they were behind 6 months on their child support or more. They didn't admit that they were arrested for something once before or something of that nature. There's several examples I've given you. All right, let's see what did this guy do. Procured a license through fraud or deceit. Here's another example. On the qualifying questionnaire, he misrepresented or deceit and misrepresenting the status of his child support. Okay, so he didn't say that he was behind more than 6 months on his child support. So they suspended his license until he gets caught up on his child support and pays a $1,500 fine now because he lied about it in order to get the license. Okay, continuing with the violations there on the page 24, commingling. What is commingling? When the broker mixes their funds in the escrow account with the client's money, or failure to maintain and properly deposit other people's money in the escrow account, which needs to be done within 5 days. Selling property in which the licensee has an interest without disclosing in the contract of sale that interest, and the fact that the seller is a licensed real estate salesperson or broker. So basically, if you're selling your own house or buying your own property, you got to state on the contract that you are a real estate licensee and what kind of license you have. Okay, the law requires it. So why wouldn't you do it? It's not like you're taking advantage of somebody by saying, "Hey, I got a real estate license," right? Or buying property without disclosing in the contract of sale that the buyer's a licensed real estate broker or broker salesperson. Or disclosing the interest, like even if you're selling or buying, helping your mother sell her house or buy another house, you have to disclose the relationship of the parties there too. I am a real estate broker with XYZ Realty, and the client is my mother. Violating any of the rules regarding rental practices, which we haven't gone over any of them yet. Failure to notify the commission within 30 days of a conviction, indictment, or being charged with a crime, or of the suspension or revocation of a real estate license issued in another state, or of any initiation of disciplinary proceedings. Violating any of the previous items or the administrative rules adopted by the Real Estate Commission. And if guilty of a third violation of any of the articles, the person may be considered a repeat offender and denied ever holding a real estate license again. And once again, here's that slide where I got most of that stuff on one slide. And that concludes chapter 2. Let's do the key terms to review for chapter 2. There are only one of them for this chapter as well. Remember, the way that this works is I will read out the answer on the right-hand side of the page. You shout out what you think the corresponding term that it lines up with on the left-hand side of the page. There's no penalties for wrong answers, so shout them out as you got them. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right,
So,
let's do this. Broker's additional place of business.
Branch office.
It is. One is A. Least severe discipline by the Real Estate Commission.
Probation.
Probation. 6 is B. Place for money belonging to clients and customers.
Escrow account.
There you go. 4C. Copy of the real estate contract with original signatures.
duplicate
Duplicate
original.
original.
A duplicate original. 3 is D. Awareness of wrongdoing with no attempt to stop it.
Guilty knowledge.
Guilty
Guilty knowledge.
knowledge. 5 is E. Mixing broker's money with that of others.
Commingling.
Commingling. 2 is F. Cancellation of a real estate license.
Revocation.
Revocation. 7 is G. Temporary lifting of a real estate license.
Suspension.
That would be suspension. 8 is H. Another name for an escrow account.
Trust
Trust
account.
account.
Trust account. 9 is I. So if you answered before trust account, you wouldn't be wrong either. Okay. 9 is I. Form sellers must sign if they do not want the broker to offer cooperation with any other broker.
Waiver of broker cooperation.
10 is J, the waiver of broker cooperation. And that concludes chapter 2. Let me stop that recording.